You might have clicked on this video thinking that you're going to get some type of secret formula to become more of yourself or to become someone who is well rounded in everything or someone who can handle everything or to master a certain skill, and in this case to take yourself seriously. But the main thing that we all stopped trying to see is, what does it take for you to get from point A to point B? For you to become a topper at your school, if that is a goal of yours, to get there, what steps do you have to take? It's not all just sit every day for 1 hour and revise and then you'll become a topper, or just prepare study notes. No, it's so much more than that. Growth is hard. Growth makes you anxious, it makes you sad. It wasn't meant to be these secret formulas or these addicting habits that you have to stop doing, because growth needs those addicting habits and needs those flaws of yours so that you can grow. So what does it take for you to go from you to that you that you're idealizing so much? Why can't you take yourself seriously enough to go from point A to point B is the real question. The thing is, growth, when you start the journey, it's actually much more easier flowing because God wants you to grow. The faith that you believe in, that and nature and everything is going to support you if you just make the decision that you're going to grow. But also, it's much more than that. So it's not about taking yourself seriously, it's about why you haven't taken yourself seriously until this point. Why? I'll tell you why. You just don't know. Have you asked yourself why you make up excuses that you have no time to grow yourself and do all that you're idealizing because you have a lot on your plate and you have a lot of responsibilities? Have you ever thought of why you can't just take a little more time in your day to pour into yourself? You don't dig about these things. You don't simply dig about why you can't take yourself seriously because you just don't know why this happens. How to take yourself seriously, it's another question. But why to take yourself seriously? Why does that matter? When I have thousands of pages to study for an exam tomorrow, and then I also have to take care of my siblings or do whatever that life throws at you in the same time, why should I put so much focus on bettering myself? What does that entail? What does growing do to me? Growing is hard, so why should I do it anyway? Right? The obstacle is that we usually don't have time as students. But the thing is, it's not you not having time, it's you making the time. Your schedule may be something that no one could ever imagine you putting an extra hour to grow yourself. It may be stress inducing, but you know what? The moment you start to take yourself seriously and take the first step from point A to point B, that is when you realize that you were stressed so much about all of your life's responsibilities because you just didn't start this growth journey that God just wanted you to start. At this moment, everything in your life is just pushing you. All of those things that are making you sad and all of those things that are telling you that you have to take your life seriously for once, it's because you have to take your life seriously. Everything supports you growing, though it may not seem like that in the moment. Your environment might be disappointing, it might be anxiety inducing, it might be whatever. Growing yourself isn't based on all of those things. Growing yourself is a whole other thing entirely. It's made up of so much beauty that only those who have gone on this journey can understand. So, why do you limit yourself from this growing beauty that you could experience in this one life that you have? Hi, guys, this is Vaishnavi. Welcome back to my channel. Now, what does being serious about yourself actually mean? I think being serious about yourself means not procrastinating, doing what you love along with doing what you have to do. Even though you have responsibilities, this is you making time for your growth and for what you are truly interested in doing. I was always interested in making a YouTube channel. I was always interested in making all of my dreams come true, because I believe that when I'm older and when I'm on my deathbed, I would not regret anything because I just didn't start it. I have started all the things that I want to do in this lifetime, and I intend to continuously improve on those things, because though I was completely different at the beginning of this journey of my YouTube channel, I was incredibly introverted, incredibly shy. I've come to this point where now I'm confident. I'm now okay with becoming recognized for what I share to the world, because I know that this shit is valuable. And I also am much more empowered and more of myself now, because I really truly think that if I didn't start this consistent journey of bettering myself through this YouTube channel, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I think that just says how much you underestimate life, because life plans out so much for you. The only thing that you have to do is choose yourself. But how do you choose yourself is the question. So, for that, let's understand some points that may be harsh, but I think at this point in the video, you're going to receive it either way. And it's better if you receive it with an open mind and with the intention to implement this shit. As I've come to this point in my growth journey, I truly think that loving yourself is the answer to all your problems. I was such a criticizing person to myself back in the day because I just thought that by proving that I was good and I was bettering myself to myself, that would mean that I wasn't a failure and I wasn't someone who was wasting their time in their day improving themselves. Because once you try and start to take yourself seriously, especially as a student, it looks like it's a waste of your time. It looks like the 1 hour that you sit journaling in the morning is going to be no use for you in the long run, because instead of that, I could be studying for an exam, right? But you underestimate the potential of how much you can become in that moment. And so, when this happens, if I had loved myself even more, and if I stopped criticizing myself a bit through loving myself, then I think that I could have made more time and space for my own feelings to grow. My anxiety could have lessened a bit, and I could have become who I wanted to be in a much more easier way than the hard, rocky journey. But that is just me. And so instead of that, if you're that criticizing person to yourself, I really think that you have to understand that the answer to why you can't make that time and space for yourself when you have all these responsibilities is that you just don't love yourself enough. And the second most important point to understand before we go into the solutions is that you don't have the courage to stop copying how other people act, especially in the day of social media and where everyone tells you how they live their life and how you should live your life like that too. You incline towards what they tell you, right? Because you think that since it has worked for them, it will work for you too. But that is just not how it works. You have to experience life on your own. You have to have the courage to stop watching social media and see how you can actually better yourself. See how some steps could change your life if you put some intention towards it. Maybe it's drinking water every day, starting small, right? Perhaps drinking water every day, you could put an intention for that, saying, if I drink water every day, that would mean that I'm slowly inching towards loving myself wholly. And that will lead you to drink that water every day. It's just in these small acts that if we can build that courage that we need to build, so that we can do much more bigger, riskier things when we get to a certain point in our journey. If you don't have that courage to take that first step and to see how you can grow, then you are obviously going to copy what others tell you to do, because you don't have the courage to live your own life. Understanding how you living your own life is courageous and it is brave, and copying other people doesn't have to be your whole life story. That is just going to make you more and more inclined to live your life, which will make you grow. In the olden days, people did not have the luxury of all of these videos and self help books, because, for one, the technology wasn't advanced, but also they put all their time and effort and focus into what they had to do and what they could do. And those who put their focus on what they could do, they ended up being what they thought they could be. It's as simple as that. But in this day and age, it is hard when all thoughts can be muddled by a single scroll. So it's important to understand that this act that you're trying to do is courageous, and you should be proud of yourself for that. Perhaps stop the criticizing for a bit. Now that we've gotten all the understanding and everything all the way, let's move on to the solutions, the actual things that you can do to start taking yourself seriously. The first point, which you've already probably guessed, is allowing yourself to change for the better. Allowing yourself to not be stuck where you are and growing is the first step. And I know it's scary. It is scary because you think that this will affect all the people in your life, because then they'll start to think, oh, she's so self-centered, how can she even think of taking another hour in her day to do what she could be, or whatever, what is she even saying? Um, like you imagine people telling amongst themselves all these things about you, but in reality, I'm not going to say nobody cares, because I do think people care. I do think people judge you a lot. In fact, especially in village areas like I have also lived in a city, but especially in a village, people become very close to you and people watch every move of yours. And in that moment, if you just tell yourself that it's okay, I can be whoever I want because nobody cares, it would be you selling yourself incorrect propaganda, because that's not how this works. It's not you not caring about how the people think. It's not fully about that. It's a part of your journey, but most of it all, it's you who is not allowing yourself to change. It's you who is thinking that since people judge you, that is why you can't change. People judge you, and people can judge you. It's their right. And people are going to judge you all your life. It's just a matter of when you're going to start to take the power in your own hands and possibly start to judge your own self. Judge yourself for a second. Do you actually want to stay like this? Do you actually not see yourself growing? Do you actually see yourself going in the same loop of all of these coping mechanisms that you've done? And do you actually see yourself always copying what other people tell you to do? Do you not see yourself become the person that makes your own dreams come true? Like, put that judgment on yourself. Stop trying to see what other people judge of you, and try to see what you could actually do. Like, it's simple, but in the moment, I know it's hard. So, to ease this thing, to ease all of this muddled feelings that you may be feeling right now, give yourself the tiny taste of seeing how you could change. Give yourself the feeling of how it would feel to have changed. Think of the person that doesn't scroll, that eats healthy, that says loving things to everyone, and that gets praised by everyone because she actually has become better in her life. Think about the feelings that you may feel when you're at that point. Isn't that a little addicting than the addicting habits that you have right now? So, allow yourself to have that tiny silver of a moment to change for the better, and judge yourself a bit, because it does help. It does help. And when you start judging your own self, you don't really care how other people judge you, because you already know how you are and how you can become better. So you don't need other people telling you how to be better. And then the next step that you could do after you've done this is take the small steps to build your courage. Take the small steps of loving yourself each day. You don't have to keep 1 hour aside in the mornings if that's not feasible for you, but in time it does become feasible because you're not easily stressed. That's another story. But at this moment, after you've given yourself this permission for yourself, then you can take the small steps, like perhaps talking more kindly to yourself each day. And that is actually it. Like being more kinder to yourself, taking the time for yourself, becoming more curious about how you can better yourself, experimenting, then implementing the shit that you've put your mind into. And also, if you're scared about becoming more consistent with your habits each and every day, I assure you that being consistent and being disciplined is actually a myth, because once you realize how much a habit impacts you and how much it makes you less stressful, then you're obviously going to do it each and every day. Discipline comes when you understand that once you become more loving to yourself and more curious about the world, then it's just the reminding yourself to come back to what actually changes your life. Maybe a 5-minute meditation in the morning or drinking more water, that will help your health and that will make you better. And once you experiment and do this shit, like small steps every single day, it just pushes you towards becoming more disciplined. So you don't have to worry about all of those things, right? Like you are not disciplined enough right now, so you can't start and whatever, because as you start, that is when you become more disciplined. So yeah, once you start to take yourself seriously, you are able to come to a whole new world, which is this, which is of love, of kindness, of compassion, of empathy, and of all the things that you're dreaming about. The grass is more greener on the other side, so I hope you take the time to start and change your life for the better.